Hello and welcome to the Billion Dollar Broker Podcast. My name is Ross LeCane. I'm bringing my 25 years industry experience together with leading experts around the globe to give you the insights on how to live a better life and grow a profitable mortgage broking business that you are proud of. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Billion Dollar Broker. My name is Ross LeCane. I'm excited to bring to you two champions, two legends that I've grown to love over the last sort of 18 months. I want to welcome Paddy and Kate O'Sullivan from Mortgage Choice Nowra. Welcome, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Ross. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to be on.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So these guys have been in the industry for 5.5 years. They kicked off their business in April 2016. And from inception, you've had phenomenal growth in your business. Looking at this sort of list of awards here, you've between 2017 all the way up to sort of last year, you've had the highest sort of growth rate within Mortgage Choice. You took away the most coveted award at the last awards for Mortgage Choice as the best national multi-operator, which means with multiple brokers within your business. So congratulations on that. That's a massive achievement. As well as that, you've been named as the best regional broker in the state by both the Better Business Awards and the MFAA. And, Paddy, you've been ranked among the top 100 brokers for the last number of years. So, quite an achievement, and congratulations. Look forward to unpacking that today.
Thanks, Ross.
All right, beautiful. So tell me, you guys came from different backgrounds. Kate, we were just talking before, you were in sort of health admin, and Paddy, you were in engineering. And then, tell us about the story, because I think it was an interesting story in terms of how you came to be at Mortgage Choice at Nowra.
So we were living originally from Nowra, Culburra and Berries, where we grew up. We went to school in Nowra, but we'd been living away for a long time. We lived in Wollongong for a number of years, and then we'd moved to the Hunter Valley. I was working in mining, and back in 2014 or 15, we transitioned back to live in Nowra again. So we moved the family back. Our youngest just started primary school. I had a job I was selling mechanical seals into the mining industry with a small engineering company. And we were just reestablishing ourselves locally. Around that time, we were looking to potentially challenge ourselves from a self-employed point of view. So we looked at a number of different little opportunities. I think we looked to buy a removalist business at one stage.
Just Cuts.
Just Cuts. Oh my God, it would have a few sort of train wrecks.
We pretty much had the books on any business in Nowra. We had the books and we wanted to just, see what we could do. We looked at cafes. We just wanted to be really self-employed and see what we could do.
And then, and the Mortgage Choice franchise was actually up for sale. The lady, Deborah, who was running that, was she was relocating back up sort of north at the time. So we and when it was for sale, it pulled a lot of cords, I guess, from a background point of view, as in like it just felt something that was sort of natural that we could potentially sort of start up and have a bit of a go at. So we did no research on aggregators or anything. We just basically specifically looked at this particular franchise and negotiated with the owner and took it on. So we
got declined. We signed the contracts, and then we got declined by the bank, so we couldn't buy the business. So we had to rely on our families to lend us some money to get us through the first bit until we could, because we didn't have experience. So we were declined, and
they didn't believe my settlement figures and the cash flows. But anyway,
they're a bit optimistic.
Well, I didn't think they're optimistic, and we showed that we weren't being optimistic. But the particular business bank we were dealing with didn't believe them. So we scrounged up for the first time in our adult lives. We got a little bit of a help from family to sort of bridge the gap, and then we with basically no money in the bank or anything, we just settled and started up.
Okay, so you're in debt to family, and you're in the business from sort of day one. So then talk to us a little bit about those early days and what you remember, from sort of 5.5 years ago in terms of the challenge coming from both of you from totally different industries. You land in this complex sales environment where you've got technical products and, you know, obviously different client needs. Yeah, just talk to us a little bit about those early days within the business.
It was pretty lucky. We had a little office that Deborah had already been renting, so we made that our base and wanted to have somewhere to work from. I kept my job at the hospital, worried that this was a bit of a challenge that we're taking on. And Paddy just started working from the office, going through all the old folders that were left there in boxes and starting to ring people and just introduce himself, and started to just try and find a couple of appointments every week.
Yeah, so we had there's a small amount of sort of business in progress, and it was a small loan book, so we had few inquiries and a few bits and pieces, and then we just basically went back through all Deborah's like appointments that she'd made over the last 2 or 3 years, and I just rang them all and just like, hi, you know, you called us back in whenever, do you want to do something? And most people didn't, but every now and again someone would be like, oh, you know what, actually blah blah blah, and
we just had a little target. So it was like fishing. We just set, maybe we'll try and get 3 appointments. And after maybe a month or 2 of that, we're trying to have 5 appointments. And we just kept trying to grow it. That was April. We took the business on. And by the June, Paddy thought he was really busy. So I had to quit my job.
Yeah. And I wasn't. I wasn't actually very busy. I was.
He thought he was busy.
I thought I was busy. And look, the other interesting time about when we took over, so that was 2016, which was sort of the end of the last property sort of boom type thing. And it was just when all the lending restrictions were coming in. So there was what were at the times these massive changes, like when CBA stopped investment lending and there was all this interest only and principal and interest. And I didn't really know anything different, to be honest. So when everyone else in the industry was really sort of like in turmoil about all the changes, it was just pretty sort of like, I didn't know any different. And because there'd been so many changes, the lack of experience didn't matter so much because everything had changed so much. It didn't really matter if what loans were like a year or 2 beforehand, because they were totally different at that point in time. So the speed of change in the industry actually means it's experience obviously does help, but
it didn't matter.
You know, you can overcome that by just staying current with the current sort of environment.
Yeah. We had a little loan book, so we did have a little bit of money coming in, so that was beneficial.
Yeah, and
got us through those first couple of months.
Yeah, I always say to people, it's great if you can buy an existing business, as you said, even if it's so small, but you get those existing customers, and at least it gives you a start, you know, somewhere to go. And, you know, Paddy, you obviously did the right thing by, you know, jumping on the phones and sort of making it happen. So when did you start to see, so you obviously, you thought you were busy a couple of months in, and when did the business really start to take off for you?
I think I probably left to come and help Paddy, but that was more with processing and making phone calls and doing data entry. And I think every time we've increased the business by a person or made some big changes, we've seen the increase. So it was quick. And then, because it wasn't long after I joined the business, we actually put on another admin lady to be there. So it was quite quick, I think, but we were pretty ambitious and kept moving the target a little bit further back. After we hit it every couple of times, we move it back a little bit further.
Yeah.
What do you guys think the key to that success was?
Look, we've always had a growth mindset. We've always said around, I feel like if you're either growing or you're dying, and which means you can't not sort of grow in this industry. So we just sort of challenged that. So like, I think when we started, the business was say settling around $1 million a month. Then we just slowly, all of a sudden we went from $1 million to $2 million a month. And then it went from 2 to 3 and it just gradually kept, as we sort of did more stuff, we'd learn more things and we open up the door to more clients and different ways of doing things. And then we just slowly, so just,
I guess being accountable. So we're fortunate that we've got each other. But I guess, you know, reaching out to another broker, taking on what other people are doing, reaching out even to have coaching, just to be accountable. I think it could be easy if you're on your own to sort of maybe not just maybe let things slide a little bit, but we had to make the business work. There was no room for failure. We had to make it work. So we just kept each other accountable, really.
Yeah. And then I think it was in 2017, June 2017, where we transitioned from our little upstairs office to the actual street front. I think that was probably the point in time where
we had another uptake. It was a scary move though. That was just as scary as taking on the business, committing to a 3-year loan and 3-year lease. That was scary. So that was probably just as scary as taking the business on, but it quickly got rolling and it paid for itself. So that fear, was really irrelevant.
Yeah, definitely. So, and that's the thing, and I often say that is the courage to make those decisions, and we often talk about it as well in terms of the courage to make that decision of that next hire or the next office or the next thing. And Kate, you sometimes tell me that Paddy's a bit fearless in that, and that's been a sort of secret to your success.
I think it is. I think being fearless, there is no limit if you put your mind to it.
And look, I thought when we took over, like, if the worst happens is we go bankrupt or whatever, it's like, it's not the end of the world. We've still got our kids and family and whatever. Like, it doesn't, and time heals and everything. So like, so I think when you accept that, even if it's the worst possible failure imaginable, it's really not that bad, then it just makes, it's, and that
it was
really
never going to be an
happens.
option really for us. Like, we would have worked day and night to make it.
Yeah.
I love that about you guys in terms of that positive, nature. And it's, the successful people that I come across within the industry have something in common. And that is that positive outlook, right? In terms of, if things go right, and even the way that you're talking about failure, at the end of the day, you've got your family, you've got each other, you've got your kids, that is the key thing that's important. Business is the game, right? It's the game that we play, and it's fun to play, and there's a lot more upside than there is potential downside, right? So I love that sort of fearless attitude. And obviously no wonder you've got the awards for growth over the last 5 years, because you approach it with that sort of really positive mindset, which I love, which I really, really love. It's a credit to you both. All right, so we so that was the sort of when you got started, and that was the big decision you made, the decision to sort of go into the office about 14 months after you'd sort of taken off the business with very little experience. And obviously, your loan book wasn't where it is now, so that's a big commitment at that step. And then you obviously continue to grow, and your growth rates, from what you were telling me, was in the sort of 40 to 50% range year on year, right? So you're constantly growing to where you are now, doing close to $20 million a month in settlements, right? So from 1 to 2 slowly over the last 5 years. So it's phenomenal, right? So phenomenal in terms of that. And in terms of when you look at some of the challenges that we spoke about, and some of those things that you've had to push through, what do you think some of those challenges that you've come in this sort of short time where you've got to where you are now?
It's been new to industry and the fear of not knowing, but just pushing through that and being open to change. Finance is quickly moving, so you need to be open to changing, the processing changing.
Then it's taken us a long time to get around. So we've been the last so from our early sort of growth stages, the last 2 or 3 years, we've really felt really very busy through that entire period, like through all last year, through all the year before. So it's trying to grow the business and keep a really good level of customer service and the problems that come with extra volume. So probably the biggest challenge from my end was probably 12 to 18 months ago, where like I had so many things to do, and I had so many staff. I had staff that I'd sort of trained up. Every time I hired, I felt like I'd get busier, and the workload would get more and more unmanageable. And I was actually at a point where it was giving me a lot of anxiety to a certain extent, where I sort of didn't even really feel like I could be out, walking down the street, because half the time I might run into someone that I hadn't quite got back to yet. So so it was transitioning from being able to actually deal with the extra volume and still maintain a really high level of customer service and do that in a way that and create a team. That's probably been the biggest challenge over the last couple of years for us.
Yeah, I think that, and also become, HR, that's something we'd not really done before. So recruiting staff, finding the right fits, building team culture, that was a big challenge, something we'd never dealt with, but I'm confident now in that. And I think that plays a big part in building a good team, makes it easier. So that's been a challenge, but it's becoming more enjoyable now.
That's something you've been fantastic at, right? In terms of, doing, and you've managed that team culture and that HR. So I'll come back to your point on the anxiety and stuff, Paddy, because I want to dig into that. But we'll talk to Kate first around, creating the team and some of the important hiring decisions that you made along the way. Because I think there was some key hires within there, and some of the things that you've done around team and culture that a lot other brokers can really learn from. So Kate, do you just want to sort of talk a bit about that? So firstly around the key hires, and then a bit about what you've done to build a great team culture within your business.
Yeah, some of the first key hires were our admin staff. So a trainee first, that was all we could afford, but having someone here all the time to answer the phone and book appointments, to me, was really important. That $400 or $500 to book those appointments was pretty important. Followed by probably our offshore staff. We started with one and we now have 4, and they've been amazing back support for us.
And the settlement team.
Our settlement girls who come with conveyancing background, and our credit analyst who came with experience, who can sit behind Paddy, that was probably a real turn, probably a year ago now, and that probably alleviated a lot of Paddy's extra stress. They've been, brilliant. We haven't always got it right. We've had some failures too. We've employed a few people that we've had to let go because they just weren't right, but we were quick to do that, and that worked out best for them and us. So
I definitely think that's a good lesson. So, hire slowly and and working with you guys, you definitely did that, right? We pulled the trigger a couple of times, and you did it well, and you did it in a really way that was full of character and really respectful of the people that you had in the business. So that was really good. So that's the hires. Let's talk a little bit about culture now.
Culture, that is one of my main priorities. So I want our staff to come to somewhere where they enjoy working, they go home and they're not stressed about what's happening. Maybe not so much Paddy, but the rest of the team. So we do try and have a lot of fun within the business. So rewarding staff when we're having good months, giving them nice little bonuses, taking them out when we can.
We've got Carlene, who's a cactus, who we share around each 24 hours for someone who's put in, had a good day or put in a bit of extra effort around. So I hold Carlene today, actually, so I've got to hand it off this evening. But so and it's everyone has a bit of acknowledges all the good stuff, and we have, because it can be a stressful environment at times. So we just like to keep it lighthearted when we can. And
we have a notice board that everyone can see, and we put all the wins up. So, if you see someone doing something great, you can share the win, and everyone, our girls over offshore have got us onto gifts, so we get on there and celebrate the wins. It could be a tricky settlement or an application that's gone through really well that we expected to have trouble with. And I guess when we came to recruitment now, we probably recruit a little bit more to fit in with our culture than we do necessarily on experience, because that is sort of a make or break thing now, because it could be toxic to have the wrong person here. So we work really hard to make sure that we're recruiting the right people that are going to fit in with our team. It's been fun. Some of the girls have got on board. So we had our Olympics, the Olympics were on. Just different little things that make it fun and make people want to come to work and make this a workplace where people want to work, which is nice when other people in the community say, oh, it looks fun there, or I wouldn't, if there's a job there.
I know walking into your office, certain offices have a vibe when you walk into it that's positive and happy, and your office definitely has that vibe when you walk into it, right? And these things, as Kate mentioned, don't just happen by chance. You've got to put time and effort in terms of building that culture and looking after your team and taking them on the journey with you, like that cactus that you said that sort of rewards, behaviors that you want to reward within the office. As a constant every 24 hours, it's reinforcing the values that both yourself, Kate, and you, Paddy, have in terms of, what's important for the team, right? So, and it's not just you giving it, it's them having to nominate someone. So it becomes a living and breathing thing within your organization.
Yeah, it's good fun.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't had it for a while though.
Yeah,
we love it, and we had a little fluffy elephant in our Aussie Parramatta, and that was a similar sort of thing that rewarded based on our values. At the moment, because we've got more overseas staff, we do a picker wheel where it sort of spins, and some of our staff choose funny things like someone has to sing a song, and for offshore team, it's just funny, right? And it just builds that sort of sense of community around sort of values in the team. So I love what you're doing there, and you can't stress for a growing business like yourself how important that becomes when you've got one or two staff, because you're so close to them. But as your team is starting to grow, and how many on your team at the moment?
There's 14 of us now, so 4 offshore and 10 onshore. We have a little bit of a combination. We have quite a few part-time staff. That comes with us being regional. It's hard to find full-time staff. So we are high in numbers, but yeah, that is due to a lot of part-time staff because of where we are. And the way we did grow the business initially was we did recruit people that could work school hours, but it was also to go with our budget at the time. But as we recruit now, everybody is full-time.
Yeah, you find that, and it's a growing of your business, right? As you sort of really get into structuring set roles, you want to then move more to a full-time person, because what you find in a busy business like yours, doing 70 applications a month, is that if they're not there for those 2 days, you really miss them, right?
Yeah.
Because the volume of work, whereas you may be able to sort of step in there, but just because of the sheer volume, you can't be across that much stuff anymore, right? So it's very hard to plug the holes as your business grows, and that's hence the need for more full time. So thanks for that, Kate. Paddy, I want to dig into your situation, because it was probably around the time that we started working together that you were stressed, right? And a lot of brokers felt like that. You get to a point, and I know I did, where you become that victim of your success, right? You've been working in the business 3 or 4 years, and you're doing the right things, and you're starting to get that repeat business, and everything is coming to you, right? So talk to me about, how you felt at that point, and, why you think, it was a challenge, and then how you sort of move through it. And Kate mentioned that critical hire with the credit analyst. So I want you to talk about, and again, with the 2 latest hires that you've got, just talk to me a bit about that transition.
Yeah, well, so we've always been a glutton for punishment, as in we spent all these years doing as many appointments as we possibly could, and we'd see everyone, and a lot of those people weren't ready at the time, but then they become ready. So then there became this point where not only were we seeing all these appointments, but then all these people that I've been dealing with for a long time were coming online, and then we had people that had been settled and were existing clients were doing other things, and yes, we had staff, but we had no processes for managing this entire.
We'd also marketed the business a lot on Paddy, being regional, both growing up here, both going to school here. We had done a lot of marketing on just Paddy, so everyone wanted a piece of Paddy.
Which so I was just
You're very popular.
well, sometimes. So like, look, I was basically like, I'd start work at 5 and I'd be doing I'd be basically getting all applications submitted and documents sent out and all my work done. And then by 9 o'clock, the phone would be ringing and I'd be, talking all day and putting out bushfires and getting out, all that sort of stuff. Well, we had staff, and they were helping, but they weren't trained up in the right areas. So probably the hire number one was getting someone with some credit experience that could slot in behind me and help me deal with a lot of the packaging and a lot of the processing and a lot of the credit policy work that I was doing on my own, and that's allowed me to free more time up to have both emotional space to be able to think about solutions for things and deal with the workload.
Yeah, definitely. I think,
yeah,
being in that place, and I've been there as well, you get to that point where, you're so locked up in terms of everything that happened. You're on that sort of the hamster wheel where you're stuck in that sort of stress brain, and you're sort of constantly, as you said, walking down the street feeling anxious. It's hard to sort of communicate with your partner and connect with your kids because you're just constantly on, right? So the reason you were constantly on, because there was no one that had that experience that could take those other questions. Like if it was a credit question, there was no one that you could refer to, right? So getting that credit analyst in place within your business was key, as you said, to free up that mental space, because coming up with solutions is, creative. I had a broker that was sort of stuck in your situation that I was chatting to yesterday, and he's like, I dread getting new business in. I see it as new work, right? So we don't want brokers to dread getting new business in. We want them to be excited, and we want to see them as positive and from a growth perspective. But when you're so far stuck in it and doing those sorts of hours, there's just no space for anything else, right? So I think a key lesson from Paddy and Kate is around getting that credit analyst person. And today we were chatting earlier, and you said you've got a couple of trainees on board that you're training up to do that role. And for now, both of you mentioned to me that it's freeing you up emotionally even more because you're finally getting the numbers right, and you've probably invested ahead of growth at this point of time. But it's that point where you're getting the right team members in place to be able to really grow and scale your business from here.
Yeah, 100%. It hasn't been and we had no processes or anything, so it's probably nearly taken us 6 to 12 months to get the handover piece and everything actually working to the point where we can duplicate it. And we've just done that. We've hired 2 new to industry trainee mortgage brokers that are just going to slot into that role, and we've essentially doubled our credit analyst capacity. So, and
it's been exciting, I think, because we've been on this journey. So the HR was a lot better, the training has been a lot better. We're confident in what we're doing, so we feel this is a really positive. These girls are going to do great. They've got so much support behind them.
Yeah, I love what both of you were saying there, Paddy, in terms of you didn't feel you had the handover in the systems and processes right to add more, and you don't want to add more onto something that's a broken structure, right? Because it's just going to fall over. So you've got the structure right, and now you can build on that. Kate, I want you to unpack more on what you just mentioned around training, that you feel like you've got confidence in your training. So you want to tell the audience exactly what you're doing around, training your team now?
Yeah, I guess when we first started, we had, 1 or 2 staff, and we were very lax in how we did things, or, we were very relaxed. And you can be like that when you only have 1 or 2 staff. But as the team has grown, we've had to tighten things up a little bit and become a little bit more confident in our judgment on how to manage the team. So we've made a very comprehensive training program for these new staff. So it's pretty much a 6-month program, but we're in the first phase. So I spent the first week really going through everything in the business, from fire exits to putting in annual leave, covering bank terminology, what is a loan book, runoff, talking to them, really educating them as much as we possibly can. We're now sort of transitioning into, they're doing a little bit of packaging, and every day they're doing comprehensive training, and all our staff are involved in their specialised areas. So our settlement girls are doing a settlement piece with them. Paddy did some work with them this morning on our top 4 lenders, and every day they're building their knowledge, and we can really even see the benefits in it early on, because we're training them a lot differently to how we have done it previously. And I think it's going to put them in a really good place.
Yeah. So they're basically got an hour of one-on-one training pretty much every single day for the next 3 to 6 months.
And that, whilst it's a lot of time, it's worth it because you get it back tenfold. So investing that little bit of time feels like it's hard work, but definitely. And the analogy that I love is around a sporting team, right? So if you look at what differentiates the amateur sporting team from the professional sporting team, is the amount that they train, right? So they're in the gym early morning, they've probably got a park session, and then they've probably got a team meeting in the afternoon, and they train, and they do that 7 days a week. They do their recovery, and then obviously they've got game day. And so that the difference between professional and amateur is how much they train. The fact that you guys are training these guys on a daily basis over the next 6 months is going to mean you're going to have a much more professional team than if you just were like the park footy and sort of either rock up on a Saturday and play, or train once. We're guilty of and I think probably most brokers initially, if you just put on 1 or 2 people, you're guilty of that, just sort of flying by and have a go at this and maybe try that, and not really putting the effort in. So
yeah.
It's definitely been a lesson.
And then with the staff that have been with us for longer, we have we have 1 hour scheduled in weekly where we catch up and run through something in particular. So we keep the training up in that space as well. Yeah, because we're fall into holes when I think a lot of brokers do this, where they expect their staff to be mind readers, just be telepathic and pick up exactly what they're thinking. It's just keeping that open communication going.
And because so much does change, we go through on a Friday all the banking updates for the week, so any of the policy changes, and then each week someone else leads the session, and it could be on a scheme that's just been offered, or it could be on our system that's changed, a process we're changing, and that really helps everybody stay on the right path together.
Love it. And I think it's worthwhile talking about staff. And often, Kate, people tell me in other Mortgage Choice franchises say, "Oh, I wish I just had a Kate," right? So, and so I think that role in a business is quite often overlooked, right? In terms of the person that really sort of is the glue within the business. And basically, get shit done, like in terms of, and I think, you're great at actually, doing that. And I think that's a key role within your business. And I asked you earlier, well, what is it that you actually do? And what did you tell me?
Oh, not much.
Which is totally not totally not true. It is 100% super important. Something I'm very, very lucky that Kate fills that role.
We're very yin and yang
for us. Absolutely.
Paddy's maths and broking, and I have no interest in any of that, but the HR, the policies, watching where we're going wrong. If there's something gone down, I find a new process straight away, and it's constant. It can be,
and like even on Monday, because we've got some new staff, and Kate had noticed that they're all having lunch together because that's what we plan to do. But we've only got 1 microwave, so we've got 6 people all waiting around there waiting
for lunch to warm up.
So she went and bought another microwave so they can spend their time at lunch, not in the queue waiting for their lunch to be ready. So just all these little things that she just gets sorted.
I think I'm sort of known probably within Mortgage Choice as running around with a stick. I have all these spreadsheets and KPIs, and I kind of keep everyone accountable. I'm not chasing anybody with a stick, but the expectation's there. I'm watching it. I'm watching numbers daily. The staff will know what they're expected to do, but that's kind of where I also work on that, just to make sure I know where we want to be. I know how to get there. We need to work together. I know what everyone's numbers need to be, and it's about trying to help them get to those places. So if they need a hand, I can point out to Paddy, I'm like, oh, look, they look like they're struggling, they're stalling. Maybe we can offer them some help. Do you know where this is up to? So I'm kind of just behind the scenes.
I love it.
Consulting.
If you want some great books on it, there's a book called Traction and another one called Rocket Fuel, and they talk about the position being an integrator. So you can call it an office manager, you can call it a EA, you can call it what you like, but it's sort of that position that sits there and is the glue that binds the, you know, everything together, the team, the business plan, you know, getting projects up and running. As you say, you don't have a set specific role, but you're sort of the glue that binds everything together. And I think that's a key role for businesses that they're looking to scale. In your guys being husband and wife, it works particularly well. But, you know, if you're looking for this type of role, they've got to be high on follow through and getting things done, right? So, you know, there's two types of people. There's a visionary and there's an integrator. And, you know, 75% of people are more on the visionary side, and only sort of 1 in 4 is around getting things done. And if you do a test, there's a test called Colby with a K, and it's a personality type profiling. And one of the things, if you're looking for this particular role, that you should look for is someone with high follow through in that particular test, because it'll really, you know, you want somebody that gets things done and really follows through and sort of bees that glue in that business, similar to what you are, Kate.
Yes.
And when I was asking Paddy in terms of, you know, what are the strong things, you know, it was really cute because Paddy said, oh, you know, Kate it was the first thing that came to mind. So yeah, I love that as well.
It is, absolutely. Yeah.
It's definitely yin and yang. It's just, yeah. I don't think one of us could actually do it without the other. It's quite funny, really.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Love that. So a couple of other things, you know, we've spoken about the importance of, you know, those relationships that you've built with your clients, and that's been key. You see every client and so forth. The other thing that I wanted to sort of touch on was, you know, you mentioned earlier around the importance of your time and you know, the outsourcing, because time is time. So you want to talk about some of the things on a personal level that you guys also outsource?
So I've got a nickname and it's called Soft Hands around. So basically, look, a heap of things at home. So we've got a lawnmower man, a house cleaner. We've got an ironing lady. We've got even Kate's mum at the moment's been folding our washing, and so she's on the payroll to a certain extent. All the, like, we get our shopping home delivered, we pre-order, we've got a set menu we follow for dinner over 4 weeks, and we just recycle the meals and we order our online shopping. So all that stuff in the background is just happening. We get a handyman around to do things.
It's all about, I guess, taking that stress of thinking. And for us, we don't want to spend our weekends mowing the lawn. Paddy works really big hours. He likes what he does. He doesn't really enjoy mowing the lawn, and we don't want to spend that time doing that. We'd rather be with the kids. So we try and outsource as much as we can, so we can be with our family. When we're with the kids, we're with the kids, and when we're at work, we're working, and sometimes at home we're working, but but we do try and outsource and just try and remove any mental stress from. So yeah, we'll outsource anything we possibly can. Maybe eat 1 or 2 many takeaway meals a week, but it has freed us up in time. And it's also because Paddy does long hours, and part of me joining the business was so Paddy could do that and I could be more available to the kids, coming home and not worrying about the lawn or knowing the groceries are delivered. Just is the stress that we don't have. So it worked really well for us.
Exactly right. I'm you know, quite often it surprises me the people that don't do that, right? So, you know, if you value your time, and we do the calculations and work out, okay, your hourly rate is X. If you want to earn, you know, $500,000 a year, and, you know, divide it by the number of weeks you want to work, you come out with a figure, right? It might be, you know, say 500, it might be $200 an hour in terms of what your figure is, but time is time. And if you've got a value on your time, if you can pay someone $35 an hour to do the ironing and your time is worth $200, then, it's a good use of resource to get someone to do that. Yes, you employ a number of people within the business. You said you're up to a team of 14 to do those things. Then why wouldn't you use the same sort of leverage mentality in your home, right? So there's no one that says, Paddy has to spend 3 hours mowing the lawn if he doesn't like it, right?
And look, the other side has been around personal boundaries. I've spent years being gluttons of punishment. Someone would ring, we found a house we want, and I'll just be like, sweet. I'd see him that afternoon. We'll be pumping an application in the next couple of days. But the last 6 to 8 months, I've set some personal boundaries around the amount of actual appointments I'm doing, which is, look, at the moment, it's booked to about 10. So 10 new clients, 10 new appointments that are booked in. And when I'm at 10, I'm booked out. And it doesn't mean if someone's super urgent or if a referral partner's referred us something, we still touch base and everything, but we're just having those personal boundaries and saying, you know what, I can't see you this week, but we'll see you next week. And it
hasn't lost us any business doing that. Yeah. It's, our staff are pretty good on the phones. They know if someone has found a house, we will see them. So we're not losing anybody, but anyone that sort of, just thinking about their situation, it's not as urgent as we used to think it was. So that is someone that we could see next week.
Yeah.
Building those boundaries has been great because now we have got so many clients. There is a lot coming in the back door. So it's been good to do that. And even being as responsive to emails on the weekend, Paddy used to be straight back to everyone, but he's realizing too, by doing that, people are expecting that he will respond on Sunday night, or, we were trying to have dinner on one Friday night, and one of our clients kept ringing, and Paddy ended up saying, I'm just having dinner. Oh, I'll ring you on Monday. I was like, oh, that's really good. So it's taken some time to build the courage to do those things, but it's definitely helping our balance.
I think that's important, right? So love what you said, 2 appointments a day. So 10 appointments every week. You've still got slots if there is the occasional urgent one that has the property, and really setting those boundaries. Because if you don't set boundaries, your clients are going to learn from your behaviors, right? So if you answer the phone on a Saturday or a Sunday, they're going to learn that that's acceptable. If you answer the phone at 9 o'clock at night, they're going to learn that that's acceptable, and they're going to continue to do that. So it's, no one can set those boundaries but you, and no one expects you to answer the phone after 6 p.m. at night or on a Saturday or Sunday, or no reasonable person. And there's not much you can do. Let's face it. What can you do on on 6 o'clock on a weeknight, or 1 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon? There's not a lot we can do, right? The banks aren't open. We can't process anything. It can wait, right? It can wait till Monday. And I love that you've sort of used that, because it's valuing your time. And as you mentioned, the time with the family and the kids is something that you're never going to get back, right? Never going to get back. Love that. All right, guys, this has been sensational. I mean, you guys are killing it. There's been so many lessons and so many gold nuggets from this conversation. Just, something I ask all the guests in terms of, if you were looking at really scaling your business, and, just one piece of advice that you could give from you guys, and I'll ask both of you your tip. What tip would you give someone who is really looking at sort of starting to make that decision to scale their business?
I'd say back yourself. You can do it. Just back yourself. It can be hard work, but it's so worth it. Just have faith that you won't fail.
Yeah. And much the same. Back yourself and hire early, hire full time, hire early, and then have just make time to do the training, and then hire again, and off you go. Yeah,
definitely. And that's a great advice, because a lot of people are nervous at that point of investing time and money in terms of that first hire and investing ahead of the business growing. But, every broker that I speak to, one of the things was, I should have done it earlier.
Right? I think that was advice we did get early on, was just, do it early, be one step ahead. And we've tried to do that.
At times, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes.
And don't be afraid to hire new to industry people that don't have any experience, especially in the current climate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, definitely. And
Yeah.
you've said that, and again, it's a testament with these guys that you're bringing on, and the fact that you've got the training, and it's with other brokers that I've seen, they can be up to speed within 6 weeks. If you've got the right culture, the right attitude, then you can train them with the rest, and you guys are obviously committed to training. So, that's a credit to you both. All right. Thanks, Paddy. Thanks, Kate.
No worries. Thanks, Ross. We'll talk to you soon.
So this has been another episode of the $1 Billion Broker podcast. If you want to connect with us, there's a number of ways that you can connect. Join the $1 Billion Facebook group. Request to join on Facebook. We'll love to see you there. 2, subscribe to the podcast on whatever podcast channel you're on. And if you want to, get there faster and you want to reach out to us, send us a message on, either Facebook or one of the socials, and we'll book an appointment and see how we can help you. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you soon.